This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here are your hosts, Jeff Gardner and Sean Preston.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today we have another good neighbor on with us, and that is Karen Couto of Sales Barrie. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, getting a massive rainstorm out there. I'm kind of a little bit worried. I know I need to do like my front steps in that area, like right in front of my garage, because it like bellies in. And we have a kitchen that's kind of downstairs. It's fully furnished down there. It's the last thing I want to have to do is call up the girls over at Halcyon Property Services and say, hey, I've got a basement leak, and then go ahead and have to figure all that out. And my fiance just moved her business down there. That would be probably the last thing I would ever want to have to go through at the present time, especially considering we're getting married. We have our buck and doe coming up at the end of this month. There's just too much to deal with. Like I'm already spread too thin. So any extra, I just don't need.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for you on that one for sure.
I'll take all the help I can get.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we dive right into it? We've had one super pleasant conversation. Karen lives in the Arda Bluffs and gets our community publication. So it's always nice to be able to not only interact with them, but then, of course, being a business owner, have them on the podcast and get to have a very cool, honest, genuine, and casual conversation. So why don't you tell our listeners, tell us a little bit about your business.
So I run an estate sale company, as you can tell by the name. And we don't do just sales. So we help generally elderly people that are downsizing and their families to most of the time sell off things that they no longer need. So we'll host a sale in their house. But we also offer like full clear out services for say somebody that they know they don't want to sell it. They don't want to have to go through that. They're more in a hurry. It's just a one-day process. We can just clear everything out for them, and most times it's donated or disposed of depending on the condition. We also offer decluttering services and organizing services as well.
Okay, very cool. I noticed you had a store on your website with some pretty cool goodies. I saw a lamp with a Hot Wheel on it. I thought that was pretty interesting. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I actually have a client and we're helping him sell off some of his dad's collection. And that's one of the pieces from his collection. So there's some amazing things in his collection. So that's just one thing. And it's a custom lamp. So there's only one like that, and it's an actual large Hot Wheels. So it's a VW bus. And then the guy made it into a lamp, and the shade is a VW lampshade. It's really cool. And it works. It's just a neat piece for somebody that's especially a VW fan. So, yeah.
If you ever come across a real one, like from the 60s, you let me know right away, please, because my fiance wants to buy one of those.
Oh, yeah?
To deliver her flowers in a big old school VW bus. She's very old school and retro with some of the things from that time era. If she could be reincarnated, reborn, I think living through the 60s in her peak would probably be ideal for her. So
yeah, I'll let you know for sure. We do come across vehicles, and we had a VW Thing. I don't know if you know the Thing. It's not as common, but we had one of those a few years ago, and that was really cool.
Very cool.
Very cool. One, yeah.
Always nice to take a trip down memory lane. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more. Let's unpack this a little bit more. We're talking about estate sales. Before we get into, the decluttering, the organizing component of your service, what's that kind of process like? Where because there's kind of two main kind of arms, right? Somebody unfortunately leaves us, they pass away, and then we have to figure out how we want to manage that process of selling the home. And then we have, maybe somebody who's getting a little bit more mature in age, they're looking to downsize, and then you guys kind of come into play there. So what are some things that I need to be thinking about if, or I need to look out for? Let's say if, I lose a loved one and now it's time to kind of get that house moving. You guys kind of pretty much full service handle that start to finish type of thing?
Yeah, we can more or less take care of everything. We go in and we've done multiple different things. So we've had clients where the family lives overseas, and so we've gone in with the real estate agent and gotten the house ready for staging. So we packed everything up that we would eventually sell, and put that all away. The house was ready for staging. They staged it, sold the house. So then we came back in and then set up for the sale. And so we hosted the sale, and then once everything was done, we sold everything, we were able to sell was sold. We can come back either or the day of the sale, we can just remove everything from the house. So the home is empty. All they need to do is have a cleaner come in, and just take care of that, and it's done. It's a super helpful way for people that aren't sure what to do, especially if they don't live local. We have most of our clients, to be honest, the family lives out of Barrie, I'd say, outside of Barrie, and so we can take care of a lot of stuff for them that it's just super stressful when they start thinking about it and what are we going to do and where are we going to put it and how are we going to get rid of it, and so it's helps a lot of people, which is that's what I like. So it's the difference sort of too is if it is someone local. We had a client last summer and he was just, it was emotionally really hard for him. So we were able to come in, take care of that aspect for him, have the sale, remove the items, and, take care of all the emotional part of it for him. And then the house was empty. He just had to pass the keys on, and that was it. So, it helps people to deal with certain things in certain ways, in that respect.
So yeah, I could just imagine that you never want to wish that on anybody, but that's a part of life. Sometimes that does happen, and I don't think I would be able to handle doing something like that, going back in the closet and trying to figure out how to pack all those clothes and whatnot, and the smell and right, all that stuff. That's a really neat service, to be able to help someone, especially through a really tough time on the mental side. They're grieving, dealing with a loss, and then it's like, now I gotta deal with, even if I'm still employed, I have my job, maybe I have kids, I've got all these other responsibilities that are kind of going, and then that added responsibility, almost kind of a little bit of like what I was talking about at the start of the show. Just like right now, mentally, I can't handle an extra thing. So anything to alleviate that, it's a super awesome service.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, right? It's people are capped, they're maxed out. They've hit their limit, and then something like this happens, and it can be very devastating. And then on top of that, you have to figure out what to do with everything. And every time you, like you say, you open a closet, you're seeing things. And if I had to do it for myself, I wouldn't be able to. It's really tough. So we're able to come in and put those emotions aside for people and help them in a sensitive way to know that, their things, their family's items, their, clothing and just little things, they're going to be donated. So, somebody else is going to be able to use those things, and it's going to help someone, who really needs it, or even the furniture. Like if we're not able to sell certain things, we work with a community partner, and, we donate to them, and they in turn put it back into the community. So that works really well.
Yeah, we know a few of those,
Mm-hmm.
the community charities out there. It's a really, really, really cool way of giving back and helping those in need. So it's really nice to hear.
Yeah, I like that. I like that I've been able to find a charity that we're able to work with. It's great.
Okay, and so now we're onto the kind of the downsizing component. I mean, people downsize for all different kinds of reasons. The main one that comes to the top of my mind is, hey, we're getting a little bit older in life. Maybe the house is bigger than what we need. So it's either downsizing to something smaller, or in some cases we're kind of at that point. We want to maybe get into a bit of a retirement community with some full service amenities, and then do that as well too. So do you help all different kind of age groups there, or do you guys have a specialty in that area, or how does that work?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We help all different age groups in different situations. Like we've had couples that were moving out of country, and so basically needed to sell almost everything. And we've had families that were moving into places that provided furniture, so literally needed to get rid of everything, including the furniture, dishes, kind of thing, just their personal effects that they took with them. And then we have people that are able to take items with them, or have chosen to downsize to a smaller place or a home where they, take their furniture and personal belongings with them. So it just depends on the family and the situation and how they want to do it. And we work around every situation, whatever they need. We can help with that. So it just, people just let us know. We offer free in-home consultations. So that's generally the first step in kind of putting their mind at ease. I can, excuse me, I can come in and, go through with them how it works and how we set it up, and just see what they have and look around and kind of guide them through that process and go from there with them.
Oh, yeah, that's really nice. So we have also then the kind of last component, which is the kind of decorating and the decluttering part of the business. Would you say like the decorating and stuff, is that more of like your kind of favorite component to the business, or is it the other stuff with being able to help people? Obviously there's some super sentimental components that going in. I saw you smile. I'm kind of the same way. I really like to help people. That's why I do what I do every day. I'm sure Jeff would probably agree as well too. But do you have like kind of like an artistic design behind you where you really enjoy that process?
Not really. So I do enjoy the process, but I'm not the best with design. So my favorite thing is helping people and meeting
Right.
people. Like, people are the best part of this business for sure. I've met so many great people. That's the thing about older people. They have the best stories. So, I really enjoy meeting the older people, but I do enjoy helping people declutter. If it comes to anything sort of design or decorating, I bring my older daughter in for something like that because she's fantastic at it. So I get her to help me with anything like that. But I am great at decluttering other people's spaces. So that I don't have a problem with. But when it comes to design and decorating, I do like doing it. I'm just not, that's not my best thing anyways.
That's what they say, the right tool for the right job. You happen to have the right tool for the right job, and your older daughter. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So when people like reach out, I'm just curious, like, because there are some people, like I knew a friend growing up, and his mom had a decluttering issue going on, and it wasn't something that, unless you're going to seek outside help, that was just going to kind of get it fixed. But are there like what's going on in people's minds? Like, do they know who to reach out to? Do they know that they have a that they need to be decluttering, that they've got kind of a bit of a hoarding issue going on? Like, how do you come across people like that? I'm just curious to know about it, because mainly I think to myself, like, if maybe I wouldn't know I had that problem unless maybe somebody spoke on my behalf, and you kind of somehow, were able to get in the door. And then from there, then it's the educational component. And then of course, I think most of us would agree, like once we get our space decluttered, my 18-year-old daughter's the same way. Between you and I and everybody here on the internet, we figure out, hey, you're not feeling really good right now. Like, let's go in there, let's do some decluttering. And then it's like, she gets it done the next day and she's like the happiest girl on the planet. I'm like, see, I told you so,
Yeah, it's just getting started, I think. And it is usually like someone else that points it out, right? Like, you're pointing it out to her and she probably realizes it. She's probably like, oh, I should do this. But a lot of times with people who are sort of hoarders or savers, collectors, they don't know where to start. And, a lot of times, I think a lot of times it's memories that are attached to certain things. They could have well, I'll use myself as an example. My dad passed away about 12 years ago, and I had a bag of baking soda that he had given me, and he wrote baking soda on the tag, and I just couldn't get rid of it. It was the weirdest thing, but and then finally I said, okay, let's let it go. So I threw the bag of baking soda out, but I did save the tag. So it's just little memories that, it's a funny thing, but people go through it, and I think for most people, it's that are in that situation, it is memories and feelings, emotions that are attached to stuff. So it's harder for them to let things go. And so that's where we can come in again. Like for us, there's no emotion or memory that's attached to anything, so it's a lot easier for us to help people declutter and take things away that are probably garbage. We've had situations where a family member had saved newspapers and magazines for 40, 50 years. So, sometimes those things we can pass on to libraries or museums, but a lot of times it's just recycling. So it just depends.
Are you typically doing that process with them? Because obviously every piece you touch, they'd obviously want to keep it, hence why it's there in the first place.
Yeah, usually if it's a hoarding situation, we ask the family, to if they could occupy the person that lives there for a couple days or a day, depending on how much stuff there is. Just so that we can make those decisions. And usually the family member is like, just get rid of it. Like it doesn't need to be saved. If it's something I think that can be sold, I definitely won't throw it out. But I'll let the family know, like we can either just put it in the garage or wherever there's space for it, and label it. It could be sold, or think about selling this, or I'll send them a picture, like a photo. I'll text it to them and just see what their thinking is. And sometimes they'll say just take it, and then sometimes to leave it and we'll sell it. Just depends. Right.
Yeah. So what's really unique about our show is people get a chance to get to know the businesses a little bit more in depth than just what they might see on a website, or they might come across a piece of advertisement, that type of thing. And the other cool thing about it is that they get to know the people who run our businesses in our community, especially with what happened yesterday with the tariffs that were imposed and everything that Mr. Donald Trump is doing out there. Of course, everybody's got their own opinions on everything. I'm not going to comment on it, but what I will say is I think it's really brought in a little bit more sense of community in local markets and pockets across all of the countries that are clearly affected by these tariffs. So what I was saying before is getting to know the people now is more important than anything, because we're now actually seeking it out, and being able to get to know somebody on a little bit more of a personal level really helps build that trust to walk in and say, I know her, I know him, I know a little bit more about the business. So everybody's got their journey, right, leading up to doing what they're doing today. What was your journey leading up to what you're doing now in your business today?
So about 3.5 years ago, a friend jokingly said to me, we should start our own business. And so, I had thought about starting a business like this because a friend of mine does it out kind of near London. And we were supposed to get together beginning of 2020, and then obviously COVID hit, and that put a damper on that. But so I said to her, well, actually I have an idea for a business, and I told her about it, and we got in touch with my friend, and then so we started Sales Barrie together. So in the beginning, like any small business, it wasn't terribly busy, so she stepped away a couple of years ago to work full-time, and so I'm on my own now, doing it by myself, and have been for a couple of years, and it's okay. At first I really missed her because we had a lot of fun together, but it's a great business. Both of our parents are a little bit older, so we knew that seniors are being taken advantage of a lot of the times, and it was a way to help people and their families with seniors, and let them know, like, I kind of get it. My mom's 81, and she's had to move and downsize and stuff like that a couple times. So we can empathize that way. And, that's how it started. And that's going on.
And have you always been a business owner? What were you doing before you had your business?
No, actually, I worked, my last full-time job, I worked for York Regional Police. I was in the 911 as a call taker. And then I had my kids. And after my second child, I decided to stay home. So I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. And then I started helping out at her elementary school when my younger daughter was, I can't remember, maybe in grade 2 or 3. Yeah. And then that morphed into, especially during COVID, they were so short on people. So I worked a lot. I would fill in as an unqualified supply. So as a teacher or secretary or anywhere they needed me, I would help out. So I did that for probably 7 or so years. And then when we started the business, I would still help out, but now I'm really busy, so I'm not able to help out much at the school. So I do miss seeing the kids and staff, but I love my business, so I'm continuing on with that.
That's really, really cool journey. 911 operator, man, that's some crazy stuff.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Nothing but chaos on the telephone. And, there's a common theme. We kind of talked about it with, you loving to be helping people and, the past things that you were mentioning there. It's all in there, helping people in a lot of various different capacities, nonetheless.
Yeah, I never thought of that actually, but yeah.
All right, let's clear the air out there. Every business has a few of these, but there are misconceptions that people have about certain businesses, about certain products, about certain processes. You could use the word myths in that, myths and misconceptions. Do you have maybe a myth or a misconception that you could maybe share with our listeners?
Yeah, my business is a bit unique, so there isn't a ton of myths or things like that. There are some misconceptions. A lot of people think we only do sales because of the name that, obviously has a lot to do with it. But we, a lot of people will call and say, do you have a store, or where do we sell stuff, or where can I buy stuff? So, that's why on the website I try to make it as specific as possible, like look for upcoming sales or look below for, things that you can purchase. And there's only a few things on there right now, but yeah, that's really the biggest one in terms of myth or misconception. And then some people, when they call us, they think I'm going to take this stuff away and sell it, which is a misconception as well. I would love to be able to do that. I just don't have anywhere to put it.
Yeah. That's like, no, we're going to help you sell it. Don't worry.
Yeah. We have to do it from your location where it is. We don't want to move it, kind of thing. And we just keep it in the home and do it from there. It makes it much easier.
Okay, so that's interesting. So how long do you do it? It's like a 1-day thing. You guys blast it out, get the word out. Hey, there's a sale going on, and then you guys, I guess, put price tags on the stuff that's available for sale, and then people kind of walk in, and you guys make those transactions there. Is that how it works?
So it's usually about a 4-day process to get everything ready. So we'll probably start on a Monday, depending on the size of the property and the amount of items in the home. But we usually start on a Monday. We're ready to go by the Thursday. And then we do the sales on a Friday and Saturday. Excuse me. So we do the pricing. We set everything up. We bring in tables, put black tablecloths down, and then display all the smaller items, the furniture. We try to make it look as much like a retail store as possible. Price as much stuff as we can. And then we have people arrive between 9 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and try to put up as much signage in the neighborhood as possible. They have flags and signs and stuff like that. And then I advertise on my website and social media, so Instagram and Facebook. And I join all the local pages so that I can, let people that live in the area know, and have some awesome stuff soon. come visit us. And that's a great thing too. I love meeting people that come. We have a lot of people that come, great customers that come to all the sales that they can, and it's really great. I've made some friends along the way, so that's nice too.
Nice. Definitely have to start following you on socials. There's always something cool about, I mean, it depends on really the age of the stuff in there, but you never know what you're going to come across, find something, pretty cool. That could be a cool addition to your home type of thing.
Yeah. I like to say to people, you never know what you need till you come to the sale. You see it and you're like, oh, I can really use that.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to know you a little bit more. When we're business owners, we can tend to work a lot because not really work, super passionate about it. Right. And there needs to be a harmony there. I don't really call it a balance. As a balance means that everything is perfectly equal. And generally speaking, we tend to work more than we play. But when you're not working on or in your business, what does Karen like to do for fun?
Lots of different stuff. When the weather's good, I like getting outside. Even sometimes on those crisp winter days when it's sunny, I'll go for a little walk, and I love going for walks outside. We're so lucky here in Barrie, we have the lake. So sometimes I'll go down there, walk around by the lake, and in the summer especially, I take advantage of the activities that go on, the camping fest and stuff like that. Down the waterfront. Love reading. And I'm a big sports fan, so I love watching sports. Football just ended, so February is always that month of no baseball, no football. I'll watch the odd hockey game, but yeah. So I love music. Putting on some music while I clean, stuff like that. Spending time with family and friends out in the backyard in the summer. It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, backyard. Backyard's a lot of fun. We've got just a little tiny backyard, but we make the most out of what we got back there. It's like a little kind of an oasis. And I think I got the green thumb in COVID. My mom has always been a gardener. And then, COVID happened. Everyone had a shitload of extra time on their hands. So I started with power washing the back fence, and then it turned into putting 2 garden beds in there. Now I got 7.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I tried to grow every vegetable humanly possible. I was even growing a corn stalk back there.
Nice. Year. That's impressive.
Till this little, well, it wasn't little. It was just this big gray squirrel. I called him Brute. That's what he was. He just trampled all over the place. He thought that was his place. I couldn't catch him. And then he ate half the one corn that I got growing off the back. So...
I love how they hang off the side of the fence. They'll hold on to the one piece of wood, and they pick our raspberries. It's true. What do? You just kind of watch them, and you think, what can I put up? But they're so crafty. They just do what they want. Those squirrels.
Now you're talking about football. Are you CFL, NFL, both?
Mostly NFL. I'm a Packers fan.
So, okay, nice.
Yeah.
I used to be a Packers fan. This is before I really kind of got into football, back when Aaron Rodgers was the QB for them. And this was back, I was in just coming out of university, I think, at the time. And then, you fast forward till, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. That's when I met Julie, and she's a huge football fan. She likes both the NFL and the CFL.
Nice.
Ticats fan for CFL. Still as a Ticats fan, we both dread the Bombers, or the Toronto Argonauts. I'm wearing for those who are on video, I'm wearing my Winnipeg Blue Bombers fans. That's where I was born. Yeah.
Nice.
And then we got into football, NFL football. Half our wedding parties down there. So I've been going down there since I was 14, once a year, 2 times a year, to see my best friends down there. And Julie was always a Tom Brady fan, and then he moved to the Bucks, and the guys live down just outside of Tampa. They're in Dunedin, where the Jays spring training. So I just got back there on the weekends. I was down there for my bachelor party, and we went to a couple football games at Raymond James Stadium, and I actually got to see Tom
Nice.
Brady throw his 600th touchdown pass in person, which was pretty cool. Got to see
Wow,
that.
that is cool. Yeah, that is cool for sure.
So we're fans of them, and then of course, like the Bills. I don't know, they're so close to home, and I always kind of go by the quarterbacks. I played quarterback when I was playing in high school,
Nice.
and obviously a big fan of the Bills as well too. So we got a couple teams out there that we cheer for. So
Nice. Yeah, you got the MVP down in Buffalo this year, Josh Allen. That guy's fantastic.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna try to go to a game. I've never been to a Bills game. I've been obviously to Raymond James Stadium down in Tampa,
Nice.
but I think that would be a pretty cool experience to go and do some tailgating, stuff like that. So
especially in Buffalo. Yeah, I've never been to a game either, so Lambeau Field is my goal. I keep saying that, but I got to get tickets and go.
Make it
I'm
happen.
hoping this year's, September. I'm too old now for the frozen tundra.
No, yeah, do it. Obviously, we can get out there and enjoy. I had one experience tailgating in my life. I got to go to the Big House in Ann Arbor, Michigan, when the Toronto Maple Leafs played the Detroit Red Wings in the Winter Classic.
Cool.
It, at the time, was the largest event ever. I think they had 101,864, if I recall that properly, people in the stadium, and the tailgating was absolutely mad. We got lucky. I drove with a buddy because we had two of our other buddies cancel, and I ended up picking it was a Choice Hotels. I remember the green and gold logo, and we rolled in there. Still hadn't figured out like how we're going to get to the stadium. Obviously, we want to go and have some drinks. So we have to figure out, is it a taxi? It's a bus. And then these two buses roll in, and people are rolling out. They've got Toronto Maple Leaf. They've got Detroit Red Wings jerseys on. And then all of a sudden it was like a zoo, like back when I used to go to hockey tournaments when I was like 14, 15, 16, you go all away for the weekend and then all the kids are running around. It's literally what it was. So of course we make some friends. We find out they're from Kitchener.
Amazing.
Yeah, and they had a couple people didn't show. They needed to fill the bus. So we're like, yeah, how much are the tickets? It was like $50 there and back. And then they surprised us with hockey cards on the way back. We were trading hockey cards.
That's so cool.
It was cool. Really, really
cool.
Cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, there's nothing like sports to bring people together. And you hear a lot of great stories in the States about tailgating. Like I've heard that Lambeau Field, on Facebook and a bunch of Packer fan groups and stuff. Yeah. And they say like tailgating, they just call you over. Like even people that are wearing the opposing jerseys, they'll say, come have a drink, come have a hot dog or whatever. So yeah, that'll be definitely on my list. Just wandering the parking lot before the game. It'll be really cool. Meeting people and stuff.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. Okay, so we'll change it to a little bit more of a serious tone, right? In life, we walk that path. Life's never easy. Sometimes it gets in the way. And it'll throw things at us. It'll throw challenges, obstacles. Sometimes people experience tragedies. Some people experience some of these things less, some people more. I've always been fascinated with human beings and their ability to be able to overcome these things, right? It's their natural evolution. Time moves forward, life moves forward. We have to move forward with it. So I wanted to ask, have you ever experienced a hardship, a life challenge? Maybe you overcame it. Maybe you were able to pull some silver linings from it and being able to see that glass half full and move forward.
Yeah, you don't get to my age without experiencing a few tragedies and hardships along the way, that's for sure. There's a few, but I think losing my dad was probably the hardest. He was 70, he had cancer, and so it was a process watching him go through everything that came along with a cancer diagnosis. So it's hard as a girl seeing your dad, not that strong figure in your life. So that's tough. He was a firefighter for 45 years. So
wow.
Excuse me. Yeah. So it was hard. That was a hard process, and then just everything that's come after that, like seeing what my mom went through, and she doesn't drive, so we wanted her to live closer. She was in Bradford, so we brought her from there to Barrie. And yeah, just everything was so different. The ripple effect of losing somebody so close to you. I never would have thought that it could affect every aspect of your life. Like, my kids were small, so they lost out on getting to know my dad better. And he missed out on so many things, but I think the silver lining is the memories. Like, you just have to hold so tight to those memories. And luckily, we're a generation that we do have those videos and so many pictures we can look back on. And my older daughter's a firefighter, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so are my brothers, both my brothers. So it's a family business. So yeah, she's a volunteer in Thornton, and she's looking to get on full time as well. So she's working her way through all that process. But I just wish. I know he can see her, but I just wish my dad was here to, help her with everything. And just I can hear him, the things he'd say to her, and he'd be so excited for her, and just love everything about it. He would think it was just the coolest thing. But yeah, it's amazing to me just how much life changes and how it, again, like the ripple effect, how it affects everything that you do and every holiday. And in the beginning, it's every day. Every day you wake up and it's like, oh, I can't ask him that. He's not there to ask, to talk to. So, but the silver lining for me is the memories.
Oh, really appreciate you sharing that with us. It's always hard for anybody to have to experience loss of a loved one. And, I really enjoy talking about those silver linings because it's one of the only ways to try to bring any positive when something like that happens to a human being. But we cherish those memories as much as we can. I know my grandma's getting up there, and I was born in Winnipeg, like I said, and my dad moved us here for better opportunity. And you look back on it, and I wouldn't be where I am today if we probably didn't make that move. But you don't get to see loved ones and family members and cousins, and a little bit more isolated out here. And as much as there are no excuses for anything because you're a FaceTime away or you're this and that, it really is just, not the same. I can't just go take her out to lunch. And yeah, she moved into a place, and then COVID happened right after that. And I think we did a decent job for what we could, but barring you're someone who lives there, like my uncle, being able to go over and wave to her from the window, that's pretty much, what we could do for her. And, we wish sometimes some things in life were a bit different from what they are. And I know when her time finally comes, it'll be, that'll be a pretty rough one on me and probably most of our family members. And we've been writing down for a long time, been pulling, here's the silver lining for my story. My grandma's like, I don't know, she's got this weird shit she says all the time. She'll see a girl, like, she's old school, right? But she'll see somebody walking by, and she says these like really, really funny sayings. And my mom's been jotting them down for like the past 4 years. So when we do
That's
our
awesome.
celebration of life, I think we're just gonna have some drinks and just do that for like an hour and a half and listen to the funny shit that came out of her mouth. Yeah,
those are the best for sure. The best memories, just laughing about stuff that we they used to say.
Oh yeah, some of it I can't even say on the show. Like, just
right? That's so funny. Yeah.
Came from a different generation back then, for sure, right?
Yeah, it's so great, and that you have those right now, even like just to think about her, even though she's not close by. You think about those and it makes you smile.
Yeah, for sure. I'll give you one more before we get onto one of the last questions I got for you today. But I just remember I was really young. It's back when we still lived there. And she used to have to put me in like a full-on suit, because we're talking about Winnipeg here, right? So a full one-piece suit with the mitts, just to go from the car to the mall. And then she would have to wrap a scarf around my neck, around half my face, and then around my forehead. So literally, like, all you can see is my eyes, because it's like -35, -40. I think it was colder for one day 2 or 3 years ago. It was colder than the surface of Mars for one day.
Holy
It's a
cow.
very cold place. And
Yeah.
I just remember her wrapping me. Like I couldn't even move. I was like this stuffed animal. She put me in the shopping cart and then, I think we went to Kmart or something. She just rolled me into Kmart and then she could finally like totally undress me because now I'm too hot. I just remember having that like crazy memory. I was probably like 3 and I still remember that.
Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine raising kids out there. You'd have to have massive supply of everything because kids get so wet. Like all the snow pants you'd have to have. Like I had 2 pair for my kids because they'd come home soaking wet. They wouldn't dry like the next day. Like, you can't just, you'd have to wash and dry them. So I was 2 pair. It just made my life stressful.
So for our listeners out there, if you could pick one thing that you wish that they knew about your business, for anybody listening, what would that one thing be?
It's tough to honesty. My dad raised me in a very honest environment. Well, both my parents did. And my dad wouldn't send a fax from work without paying for it. So I'm a very honest person. And that's one thing I think in today's society that's lacking is honesty and trust. And I do my best to be as honest as possible. And I am as honest as possible. It's just the way it is. And sometimes it's hard because, the truth sometimes hurts. You hate to tell people that there's no value in something that they love and that they value. But, and people give me a deposit. They give me money and, they have to hope I show up. And it should never be a concern. Because we'll be there. So.
Very well said. Well, definitely sure that there's going to be some people that are interested in wanting to learn maybe a little bit more about the business, maybe connected with you through the show, want to reach out and have a conversation with you. So for those who are, what would be one of the best ways that they can go ahead and reach you?
Either through my website or give me a phone call. My website is simple. It's just estatesalesbarrie.com. And then my phone number is, it's still the Toronto. I've saved the same number since probably 2001. So it's a 647 exchange, 647-221-2174. So
wonderful.
Those are the best two.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show today. It was great. Pleasure is all mine. Having an opportunity to get to know a wonderful human being and another great business in our local community, and wishing you all the best in your future success.
Thanks. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This was a pretty cool experience for me, and it was great getting to know you, and I appreciate it so much. Thanks.
You're welcome. Have a good one. Talk soon.
You too.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpwithjeffandsean.com. That's gnpwithjeffandsean.com or call 705-413-3775.